Good afternoon, everybody. It's 12:30 on a Friday afternoon. That means it's time for P2P Live, where we discuss the jobs and employment market throughout Australia. Hi there, my name's Mark Smith. I am Group Managing Director of People to People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. And we're still in lockdown. But there's some good news on the way out. You can just feel the good news that it's coming along. Although I did see before we went live today that 1,800 cases in Victoria. And it looks like that the extension to the lockdowns in Victoria will go on for a few weeks longer. So fingers crossed that things are on the mend, though. Particularly where I'm based here in New South Wales, it looks like things are on the turn there in terms of opening up some freedoms for everybody. But that's not what we're here for today. We're here to talk about the jobs market. But actually, before we could do that, I just thought I could not resist in showing everybody this tweet from Ballina in New South Wales. And this is a guy called Keith Williams. Captain Turtle's his Twitter handle, if you wanted to check it out. I think Jacob might even have the tweet. He can pop it in the comments there. And we can see all of your comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, by the way. But Keith here, who's a counsellor up at Ballina, opened up the drawer and he says here that he cleared part of the dish rack before he even noticed what was in the drawer. And I don't know if you can see there. It's a carpet python. I think there's another picture here. We'll give you a bit. There you go. That'll give you a bit of an idea. Jesus, that's excuse my language there, but that you unpacking the dishwasher, you wouldn't want to be seeing that in your dishwasher. But I thought I'd share that with everybody, particularly with one of our team, James Dalton, who's actually based up on the mid-north coast. So I wonder if he's found a snake in his dish drawer, so to speak, as it were. Anyway, so let's move on. We're going to. I can see all of your comments, by the way, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you do have any questions about throughout the broadcast, then please pop them there. Today, we'll be covering off our regular numbers section. I've got some interesting stats on some remote working job ads, amongst other things that I wanted to share with everybody. Then we will be sort of recapping the announcement of the Top Dog Awards that were announced last week. So I'll take you through the winners of each of the different categories there. And then finally, we'll be crossing to Kirsten Garrett, who is a manager in our accounting team here in Sydney. And she's got a financial accounting opportunity she wants to talk to us about. So it's and finally, after that, I forgot, we've got our Twitter poll results where last week we're asking, should you connect with your boss on socials? And so we've got some interesting results coming through from that as well. Anyway, jam-packed today. So let's get into it and start with our numbers section. So the numbers this week, a couple of very interesting stats for you. The first one here, and thanks again to Callum Pickering. I know I'm a bit of a fanboy when I'm constantly quoting his tweets on this broadcast. But this is one of his most recent ones, just from yesterday, which I thought was interesting in terms of the amount of remote work that has been advertised on Indeed. And if you were to just pick up the media posts about this, that you would suggest that there is an enormous number of vacancies that are remote, that you can work remotely. And the reality is that although there's been a steady climb from about 4%, but pre-pandemic, and you can see the rise in 2020 there from in April up to about 8%, and then a steady climb, but it's never really clipped beyond 10%. Most recent rises have been because of the lockdowns across the East Coast in Australia. You can see a dip there. Where will it end in the future? I'm not entirely sure. I would say that we're looking at between 5 and 10% of vacancies will consider remote working, which is interesting in itself when we come to sourcing hard to find talent. The other thing I wanted to show was a bit of a breakdown on a state-by-state basis, given the different way or sort of pathways that we're on in terms of coming out of the pandemic. And if you could show that slide for us, Jacob. So here it is here. This is also from Indeed, and it shows you the percentage of job postings on Indeed, the percentage change from the 1st of February 2020 to now. but we're looking at October and June, so that changed. Yeah, so you can see that New South Wales 1st of October is slightly down from the 30th of June, but still much better than 1st of February last year. So you can see the big one, or the reason I wanted to show this to you was really the distinction of South Australia and WA, how their markets are very strong. And you can see that Victoria and New South Wales, Victoria, interestingly, 1st of October is better than the 30th of June, but in New South Wales, it's not. But overall, if you wanted to sum up, well, which states are doing okay right now, WA seems to be the standout in terms of the amount of work. And that's also our experience from Kim Padmore and the Perth People-to-People office. There's plenty of work. If you're based in Perth and you're looking for a new opportunity, make sure you get in touch with our office there. There's a lot going on. The last graph I wanted to show you was, if you just wanted to move that one up, was specifically around accounting. And that's because I wanted to have a quick chat to Kirsten about what's going on in the accounting market, and wanted to sort of back that up with some statistics. So this is from Seek Analytics. Thanks again to Seek for these numbers. And we're looking at year-on-year growth in job ads, so the number of job ads. So this time last year, we are 50% more jobs in accounting. This time last year was a little bit of a different market, but the most remarkable number here, I think, is the number of people looking at the 50% more jobs on Seek, but there's 13% fewer people looking at them. So that even makes the shortage of quality talent much harder to find. And as I've said many times with the broadcast and elsewhere, that finding talent these days is not just about running ads. It's a inverted commas, multi-channel approach where you've got to be accessing talent through a multitude of different sources. And if you're only using one source, so in this case from a job board, then you're going to be experiencing a real difficulty in securing talent. So very interesting. And I can see that we've had a comment on Facebook. Bibi has said that he'd like to speak to a recruiter. Bibi, thanks for commenting. Yes, you can easily get in touch with any of our recruiters. You can either pop a message onto our socials like you've done now, and somebody will get back to you, or give us a call throughout Australia, 1300 121 727. Okay, so that's it for our numbers section. So what we'll do now is we're going to have a quick look. It's going to be fun, by the way. We're going to have a quick look or recap of the winners of our inaugural Oz Top Dog competition. So we've been doing the Top Dog competition in New Zealand for 5 years, and we've had a remarkable response even again this year. And it's certainly the response this year in Australia has been excellent. So thank you for everybody participated. I think we had just over 500 entries, so dogs that were entered into the competition this year. And the People's Choice winner, we had thousands of votes to choose. So a very popular competition. So I thought I'd recap the winners. So let's go through those. So Jake, if you want to pop up the winner of the top office and home office dog first onto the screen. And there he is. This is Weenie. Now Weenie's a therapy dog. And he's just so that you got this clear, he's a miniature schnoodle, and he's barking from South Australia, and he's training to be a therapy dog at a school. And according to, not him, it's her owner, Weenie is the happiest loving girl inside and out. So I'll just read a quick comment from the application that Weenie put in. And I think this is part of the reason why Weenie was selected by Deborah Hutton and others as the winner of Top Office Dog in 2021. I was in a hard place before she came into my world and heart. My dad lost his leg 8 years ago, but she knows just how to calm him down. She's also training to be a therapy dog at a school where she loves the kids almost as much as they love her. I used to work in this field as my mother is a special needs coordinator. So the way we have seen some children come out of their shell with Weenie's support and comforting nature to read or talk with the class is incredible. A lot of the staff have said that she makes the adults just as relaxed and as happy as the students. So congratulations, Weenie, for winner of Top Office Dog. So let's now go to Top Dog with a Job. I just love that title, Top Dog with a Job. And the winner here is Macca. Now, Macca is from Melbourne. And he, I'm going to make sure if I got it. Is it he? I always get the, yeah. So pint-sized neurosurgery team member at St. Vincent's Hospital in Melbourne. And they were very proud. I can see they actually posted several posts on social media after Macca won. But Macca's a Yorkshire Terrier from Melbourne, working at St. Vincent's Hospital. And Macca cares for some of the most critically ill brain and spinal patients at St. Vincent's. The specialty team of doctors, nurses, and allied health staff work alongside pint-sized Macca as the colleague. And despite the obvious difference in size and appearance, their furry friend Macca has been outstanding. And I'll just read to you a comment here from the application. The true magic of Macca's contribution to the neurosurgery team is visible at the bedside. The organic nature of our patients' conditions can influence their ability to communicate, comprehend, and respond. Effortless connection is Macca's trademark. He has been instrumental with our stroke and brain tumour patients. The team observing one of our patients moving I can't pronounce that, hemiplegic arm for the first time to pat Macca. I've witnessed patients in quiet solitude light up as the sound of Macca's name, the opportunity for a cuddle, a pat, or chat. Macca's visits leave our patients and staff fulfilled, buoyant, and bright. Congratulations, Macca, who was the winner. Now let's move on to the top dog-friendly workplace winner from Queensland, and the winner was Strata. Let me get the correct pronunciation here. The winner was Strata Care Australia, and they manage body corporate matters for all kinds of projects, from small to medium-sized residential communities to large and complex strata entities. So their policy, though, and you can see just a few of their visitors, it got so popular, they had to have a roster of who was coming into the office at Strata Care because everybody wanted to bring their dog in. But their dog policy became so popular. What did I say here? They had to only have 3 in the office at the time, but they've got a whole series of different opportunities for their dogs to come in to participate in the workplace. So congratulations. If you'd like to see more about Strata Care, you can jump onto our website and you can have a quick look at the winners there. The last one is People's Choice, and it's obvious just by the picture. Jacob? Yeah, there we go. Oh, what a cutie. So this is Coco. Coco's job title is Happiness Maker, apparently. And Coco is a peekapoo barking from Sydney, New South Wales, receiving thousands of votes from across Australia, according to her owner. While she may be small, she is very cheeky. Congratulations to Coco. So that's it for the winners. And thanks, Pearl, on LinkedIn for saying that they are adorable. And indeed they were. And I had the opportunity to actually participate in the judging. And with over 500, it was very hard to choose. So they are very worthy winners. Now, let's cross to Kirsten in Sydney. Before we do that, though, here's a quick video from Aidan Boast, also from Sydney, with the next instalment in his Ask a Recruiter series. And at the end, we'll make sure we'll give you the way to get in touch with Aidan to ask those.
Have you ever had a burning question you'd like to ask a recruiter about the industry or directly to a recruiter? Well, now is your chance. Hello, I'm Aidan at People2People, and I've been posting on social media asking questions to ask me about the recruitment industry, and I'll answer as many as I can. This week, a client has asked me a really interesting question. Should you accept a counteroffer? This has always been a big talking topic, and I want to cover over my opinion on why you shouldn't accept a a counteroffer. So my first point I wanted to raise is that if they're offering you more money or a promotion now, then think about why they're doing that. They should have valued you beforehand, not when they're desperate to keep you locked down. Well, maybe you didn't ask the right questions at the right time. Communication is really important to lead you to success in your role. Secondly, you need to think why you're leaving the position in the first place. Is it time for you to try something new? Will you be in the same position 3 months later if you do accept that counteroffer? Maybe a change is good for you. If you do stay, the company are going to be watching your next move, and are you happy with that moving forward? Overall, there is a reason why you're leaving, and a counteroffer is the last solution for companies. Is that how you want to be thought of as a last option? Let me know your thoughts and keep the questions coming in. Thanks.
It's great that Aidan's doing that. I can see that Jacob has popped the link to Aidan's LinkedIn profile into the comments. So jump on there and ask any question that you'd like. Bibi, the number that you're after is 1300 121 727 in terms of the number that you're after. But we'll make sure we pop that in the comments for you as well. Okay, so now let's cross to Kirsten Garrett in Sydney, Manly girl. How did you feel about the NRL final then? Who was your team?
Those Silver Ferns of Brookvale got knocked out in the semi-final. So I can actually say I didn't give a you-know-what about the result of the grand final. And I don't even think I watched it. I could hear my husband upstairs. I binged something very mindless on Netflix that night.
Right.
So unlike me, I've watched all the rugby union, but I didn't watch the league's big dance. But well done to both teams.
Yes, I was sort of hoping that Souths would do okay, but they didn't do okay at all.
Yes,
it was a great match, but the Panthers were on top. And I think you can see that you like rugby because you just mentioned, you called the Silver Tails the Silver Ferns, which I think which is a New Zealand team.
I think that term for Manly dates me because I don't think there's too much toffee-nosed about the Manly League boys these days, just quietly. So let's move on, Mark.
Yeah, all right. So we want to talk about the accounting market. So before we jump into the opportunity that you've got, how is the market? You saw the stats in the numbers section.
I did, and they were interesting because originally, certainly during lockdown, the market has held steady, I think. Let's not get too excited, but the market has held strong. There are certain pockets that are definitely in demand, and from a people-to-people's point of view, that qualified or near qualified engine room financial accountant space has been hot. Good candidates are brave enough to move, and they have got several opportunities at a time to consider. I would say to any employer, listen to Aidan's video, because I've had a couple of roles during this Sydney lockdown where counteroffers have been put in play. So that's a very real timeline of what we're seeing. Candidates are getting snapped up, good ones, and candidates are considering counteroffers. But it is held strong. Where we saw a bit of a softening was in the 150 and above level in the accounting market, definitely. Candidates don't have the selection out there. And those companies that are recruiting at that level are very, very specific with what they're looking for. So it is challenging for that really experienced, well-educated and qualified person who thinks they meet the brief to get across the line there. A little bit of supply and demand. There's less jobs coming through. But, despite your numbers there, Mark, candidates are willing to and confident to leave a role at the moment. Now, whether other things come into play throughout a process can always.
Do you think that's changed in the last say couple of months? Do you think there's more that people are more open now than they were a couple of months ago in accounting?
Yes, definitely, I would say that. And the reason I say that is I think certainly in New South Wales, despite this unexpected and drawn out lockdown, we know how to live in a lockdown. We know how to work from home. Definitely the recruitment levels during this lockdown were much higher than the lockdown we had last year when it was all new. HR teams and finance leads are confident to onboard people remotely, and that has led to them being confident to recruit.
Do you think the fact that we can see the end to now, that with vaccination rates and over 80% now in New South Wales first vaccinated, so people can see the end, that therefore they're starting to consider their options as well?
Yes, absolutely. I think a couple of weeks ago, if we'd had this conversation when we were still unsure what coming out of lockdown was going to look like, especially with the vaccination rates and who would be allowed in an office and would we have to wear masks, it went a little bit quiet, but definitely there is momentum gathering as New South Wales comes out of this. So we're hoping and preparing for a busy last calendar quarter.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of busy and opportunities, then you've got one you'd like to talk about specifically?
Yes, I do. Now, I don't know if it's only the link that's going up or Jacob's showing the video, but I'm working on a qualified financial accountant role. Surprise, surprise. It is a drive to work in an ideal world in that it is in Sydney's east, so kind of east of the airport, for want of a better description. It's in, and this is why I'm excited about it, it's in a very highly sought after sector. It's in the pharmaceutical sector, but because it's a medium player in that industry, they're not asking me to find people from the sector. So it really positions you if you want to then get into FMCG or a pharmaceutical sector and target a bigger player. So that's one good thing about it, because industry experience is often a criteria. The other thing I like about this financial accounting role is they've got a very strong team culture. They do some really exciting events, and I'm going to be talking to our people-to-people person and giving them some ideas. They do team building events when they can. And they have a sister company with a similar size finance team. So the career development and career opportunities are strong. And the individual hiring manager really does invest in her people. And we know that because we've placed in that sister company. So that's a really tangible piece of feedback that we've got. So I'd consider this a career opportunity for a newly qualified or near qualified financial accountant who's targeting around 75 to 80,000 plus super and who wants to get into a highly sought after sector. It's got all aspects of the financial accounting month-end reporting components in the role, and it leaves behind the AP and AR processing, and you only have to review those and step in if someone's on leave, which is a really big thing for the financial accountants out there. They want to step above the day-to-day transactional and focus on the reporting.
Okay, cool. Excellent. And so we talked before about remote working and we saw some stats from Indeed. Is there a remote opportunity for this one?
Look, I'm going to be honest, because they pride themselves on their company culture and building that, this is one of those workplaces where when the restrictions are lifted, they would like everyone to come back into the office and work together as a team. I think they've missed that. So they're putting an emphasis on that. It's not to say that if you have a sick child at home or you've got a commitment that you've got to do, there isn't that opportunity to work from home. But day to day, it is one of those office environments where they'd love to have their people back in.
Okay, cool. I can see that Jacob has put the link to the role and your contact details. Actually, your contact details in the comments there. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and have a chat to you about the job, well, how would they do that?
The ad is on the People2People website. I can be reached on my direct line, which is 02 8270 9720. There you go. Thanks, Jacob. And by email there as well. And I'm happy to talk to anyone who thinks this might be right for them.
Great, fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Kirsten. Great to see you again.
We'll see you soon. Bye now.
Okay, thanks for that. So let's now, we're conscious of time. We're just over time now, so we'll have a quick look. We can see that there was a comment from Bianca about remote onboarding seamlessly. I think, there we go. Remote onboarding is happening seamlessly for temp roles as well, which is great news. So Twitter poll, should you connect with your boss? Should you connect with your boss on socials? Here's what Australia said. New Zealand said, by the way, and they had a few hundred. They had just only a couple of hundred votes less than our poll, was 50-50. But in Australia, maybe we're just more friendly than the Kiwis. I don't know. Australia, but it is a Twitter poll. We've got to keep it in mind. Is it okay to befriend your co-workers and boss on social media? 63% said yeah, that's okay. So 2/3 yes, 1/3 no, 50-50 in New Zealand. Let's have a look at this week's poll. How would you feel returning to the office if masks aren't mandatory? Very, very, very hot topic in New South Wales at the moment. So how would you feel returning to the office if masks aren't mandatory? It looks like that's going to happen on the 25th of October. Let's see what the Twitterverse says. No problem. I wouldn't want to. I'm not too sure. So let's check that out. Thanks for joining us again for P2P Live on Friday. We'll see you all again next time, 12:30 next Friday. Thanks very much for joining.